Adina Howard rose to fame in the 1990s with a sound, a look, and an attitude that uplifted in the neighborhood. Adina Howard, she didn't just talk the talk, but she also walked the walk. And because Adina was willing to push the envelope, she suffered with the consequences throughout her musical career. Adina Howard Walker grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She was the oldest out of the 4 female siblings. Her father worked as a furniture assembler, and her mother was a work-at-home mom who took care of Adina and her sisters. Adina's musical dream shadowed her with a dark cloud as her parents' marriage fell apart. And during that time, Adina's mother took her 4 daughters out to live in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a big change from living in Michigan, 1,900 miles away, with a whole new vibe. But as Adina grew up and became of age physically, things started to change.
So something about sex, it just moves me, and I'm just naturally attracted to it.
And one of those things changed was singing, which came naturally for Adina. And then her turning point and big break came when singer Adina met singer and producer Livio Harris. He was performing with a group called For Sure. He ended up teaming up with another producer. His name was Roger Romain, to give Adina a look, a style, and a sound. And then the payoff came when they got a deal with Atlantic's East West Records. And then they dropped their debut single in 1995 called Freak Like Me.
Freak in the morning, a freak in the evening, just like me.
Freak Like Me shot to number 2 on the top 100s and on the R&B charts. Adina Howard was on her way. The platinum-plated success of Freak Like Me announced the arrival of a new female singer, Adina Howard, with a song that changed the roadmap of R&B. And along with the Freak Like Me single, followed a debut album called Do You Wanna Ride, with a cover that made the men look and drool. Adina kept it sexy on every single LP she dropped. It was full of sex appeal, and that's exactly how Adina Howard wanted it. Then she released another hot and sexy single called My Up and Down with supermodel Tyson Bedford.
Turn the lights down, baby, and come to me, baby.
My Up and Down became a top 40 single, landing at number 32 on the charts. It helped the Do You Wanna Ride album go gold. Adina Howard was now on the charts and on the map. Adina says it was fun at the beginning, but through the process, the work got harder. According to Adina, she begins to date Wayne Morris. He was the lead singer of Boyz II Men, who happened to be in a relationship with another platinum singer label mate whose name was Brandy. And because she was messing around with Brandy's boyfriend from Boyz II Men, it caused a lot of conflict within the record label. And one of the label's executive who was pissed off was Sylvia Rome. And as a result of the conflict between the two, they held back Adina Howard's album indefinitely. In 1996, with her album on hold, Adina finally catch a break, thanks to DJ Warren G, who reached out to her to do a remake of a Tina Turner hit. It was called What Love Got to Do With It. What's Love Got to Do With It made it to the Billboard's top 40. The song gave a little bit of the inside of the music biz, which was close to what Adina Howard was going through. By the mid-90s, thanks to a new hot single, Adina Howard's career was back on the rise, but she still had conflicts with her boss, Sylvia Rome.
I do remember Sylvia Rome. She and I sitting down in her office one day, and she was trying to talk to me about longevity. And I just was closed off from hearing it. And I'm in that moment of being who I am that I couldn't see the forest for the trees. And I think it was kind of the undoing. Matter of fact, I know it was the undoing of a lot that had been done for me.
Adina did have one solid supporter in her corner. His name was Sherman Jordan.
And one day I told her, I said, when you gonna be tired of messing with all these superstars and just settle down with a real?
but he wanted to start a family and all of that stuff. And I was like, absolutely not. I don't want kids. Ugh. That don't even sound appealing. To stop what I'm doing and having a family. Why would I do that?
And the biggest thing with Adina is Adina doesn't have no filter. She lives her life on what she believes in. She stands strong. And sometimes that's a great thing, but in certain situations, it can be a bad thing.
And even though she had tension within the label, Adina Howard steady moved on and worked on her second album. It was called Welcome to Fantasy Island. Some of the top hot artists of that time, Timbaland and Jamie Foxx, including DJ Quick. The album was scheduled for release in June of 1997, and the first single off the album was called Freak and You Know It. Maybe because Adina's been off the scene for a while, Freak and You Know It failed to crack the top 40. The single Freak and You Know It slid down the charts, and because of that, Adina's time with her record label was coming to an end. And because the single didn't do good, the album Welcome to Fantasy Island was put on the shelf, and Adina was dropped from the label. By the late 1990s, Adina Howard was a one-album wonder, with her second record on permanent hold, and her career in freefall. And because the Fantasy Island album never got released, one of the Jamie Foxx songs was leaked, called T-Shirt and Panties.
T-shirt and my panties on. Yeah.
It took on a life of its own. Although the song was never released as a single, it ended up on the movie soundtrack, Woo, with Jada Pinkett Smith, and got played on some of the popular radio stations as well. Because things started to die down for Adina Howard, the next few years, she decided to go back on the road again. And in 2004, she decided to drop another album called The Second Coming. She ended up releasing a single off the album called Nasty Grind.
And it started one, come over, two, turn over, three.
Which to me, sounds like R. Kelly might have had a little bit of something to do with it. But that's just my opinion. But although it was a great song, the album did not do much on the charts. Adina Howard struggled to replace her spot in R&B, and she began to see other female singers taking her sexual act to their scene and to the bank. But Adina Howard kept on moving and released another album called Private Show, but it didn't even chart, which put her in a hard place.
I need to reshape, I need to revamp, I need to do something other than that will give me life.
With no musical chart hits in like a decade, Adina Howard started to head in a new direction. And that new direction got Adina Howard cooking up in the kitchen. Adina Howard ended up going to school for culinary arts. She graduated with an associate degree in culinary arts and took cooking straight to the heart. And around that time, Adina Howard was reuniting with a long-lost friend. You guys remember, his name was Sherman Jordan, who was one of her biggest supporters during her struggles. And by 2011, Adina Howard and Sherman Jordan tied the knot and got married. Now, Adina is settling into the housewife life. But she continues to cook as a chef at home and at work. But Adina Howard still had music left in her and decided to get back in the booth and cook up another single. And that single was called Blasphemy.
Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back.
By 2012, after getting married and becoming a chef, today, Adina remains on the move, doing shows and bringing all her songs of the past back to life. She also does speaking engagements about the connection of sexuality and spirituality. And even though her marriage came to an end, Sherman Jordan was still her best friend. My name is Antoine, and thank you for watching. Check out more videos just like this on our channel.